The Florida Panthers were eliminated on April 4th. And the expectation going in was to go after the three-peat. And that is something that had only been accomplished by the Toronto Maple Leafs from 47 through 49, the Canadiens 1959 through 60, the Toronto Maple Leafs from 62 through 64, Canadiens from 76 through 79. You mentioned them earlier when you were talking about Al Arbour and Scotty Bowman, and of course, Arbour with those Islander teams from 80 through 83. They re-signed Sam Bennett. They re-signed Brad Marchand. They re-signed Aaron Ekblad, Tomas Nosek, Mackie Samoskevich, and everything appeared set up really well in the eyes of Bill Zito and Paul Maurice. But when I went back and I listened to our summer coolers, there was one word that you used, Neil, that you said, this is going to be the singular problem if the Panthers are not able to go for a third straight title, and that was health.
And, it didn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out when they'd been to the final 3 years in a row. And also, you look at the ages of the players on their team. Bobrovsky is right near the end. As Jamie McLennan said, Father Time catches up with everybody. And certainly it's catching up with some of these guys. Marchand had a lot of games that he missed this season, and he's not a youngster anymore. The health and injury bug did bite the Florida Panthers hard. I always felt sorry for Paul Maurice. Even though he won the 2 cups, I still felt sorry for him in these waning games of the season, how far from grace that this team has fallen and that they'll miss the playoffs. And I hope they can get everybody healthy and get back into it next year.
The reality was it started in training camp with the Alex Barkov knee injury, Matthew Tkachuk unable to play till almost the midway point of the season. They were among the league leaders in man games lost, which is not surprising. And by season's end, they had at least 9 players that were on the shelf for the rest of the season. So it just goes to show that you can't just put bodies into a jersey that says Florida Panthers and expect them to perform the same as the guys that are missing.
No, absolutely right, Vic. You've got to have that quality of player. The National Hockey League is a hard league to win in. And when I say win a hockey game, let alone a Stanley Cup, which they were able to accomplish twice and went to the dance 3 times in a row.
As you look forward for this team, in the 2026 draft, they have 6 picks, but none in the first round because they traded away that pick for this year to Chicago. That was part of the Seth Jones deal. They do have 2 in the second round, their own, and the one that they acquired from Washington in the Justin Sordiff deal. But they have none in the first round in 2027 either. And that is the Brad Marchand deal with the Boston Bruins. So the bill is certainly coming to be paid now.
It is, and Bill Zito is one of the finest GMs in the league, easily, and I'm sure he'll figure out a way to get around this lack of picks, whether it's through trading 4 picks or just signing free agents perhaps, or making other kind of deals. But they're going to have to work around the fact that their future has been dealt away to some extent.
And, Neil, they also have a bunch of unrestricted free agents, both of their goalies, Sergei Bobrovsky and Daniil Tarasov, and several bottom 6 forwards, among them A.J. Green, Vinny Hinostroza, Tomas Nosek, Luke Kunin, and Noah Gregor. So what do you do here?
Well, they're going to have to get to work. They're going to have to figure out, and they may have already figured this out, whether or not they want to keep Bobrovsky or Tarasov as their goaltenders, and they're just going to have to get to work on signing the guys that they want to make sure that they keep in the fold. It's going to be a lot of work for Bill Zito and his staff, but they're getting a good head start on it starting on April 17th.
Personnel notes, and we're going to start with the accomplishments first. Nikita Kucherov scored his 400th career goal on Monday in their loss to Buffalo, and we can't mention it enough how much a magician that this guy is.